Is Reverend Dr. Ruth. She is our minister this year. And while we get organized to begin a search for our senior minister. Her topic this morning is the advent of new life.
Well, I apologize for that demonstration. I got off the plane and started coughing. It's clear there are no germs. Just every now and then something hits me and I start coughing. Hopefully that won't be. Hi. 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 This is, in many churches, the only Christmas service, which is part of why we focus on joy. But it's also the point at which we really begin to wake up to the fact that Christ's presence that has seemed so far away is closer than we knew. Yes? Now, what is that? Christ's presence. In Unity, we say that Christ is within us, that the power and presence of all things is in everyone. In science, we say that the power that is everything is the quantum field, and it is everything. That all matter, all energy is constantly emerging from what we call the quantum field. And there isn't anything else. All the universe, and possibly all many are emerging in different ways, unique, beautiful, out of a oneness. And that oneness is intelligent. It, in fact, is all. There are emerging philosophers and scientists who are saying that anything that is ever thought or said is still present, and anything that could be ever or said is currently in that quantum field. One man, a guy named Irvin Laszlo, calls the quantum field what the Hindus call the incarnate. All that ever has been thought or said exists. Yeah. And when we say that Christ is within us, what we are saying is our capacity to know and feel that wisdom, that power is in each of us. In fact, what the Christ is the embodiment, the aware embodiment of all that knowledge and all that life. When Jesus said, I and the Father are one, it was the end of a 33-year process. Remember, through discovery, he was maturing from the ways of his people. And then there was that big gap between the age of 12 or 15 and his bar mitzvah. And then when he started showing about 30, to have John Baptist. And that big gap has been a mystery for Christians for a very long time. But back in the 1890s, a Russian explorer connected with some Tibetan parts in a province which is now probably Bhutan. And he found that there were scrolls in the library that dated back to the Roman Empire that described the visitor from the Mediterranean Sea, who was a follower of a god called Yah. And that follower of a god called Yah started visiting ashrams in Tibet and India, and in fact completed the study of 5 different ashrams that attained the level of the guru in every one of them. He was known as Yisa. And the scrolls describe how he went back to his home on the Mediterranean see different things. And he taught, and he performed the kinds of acts that any guru could do. And then the Romans decided he was too much of a threat and crucified. This is Saint Isa, or Sri Isa in the Hindu tradition. They crucified him, but he did not remain there. In the Hindu tradition, that idea of not remaining dead was not totally unknown. And so they weren't too surprised when, on the third day, Isa came back into the world. Nor were they too surprised when he came back to Kashmir and began to teach about a year later. And there is a place in Kashmir where there is a stone that, very much like the stone on the Abbey Way outside of Rome, is imprinted with the feet of the Christ. Isn't that interesting? So this person who was born with everyone knowing he would be and would be known as the one that embodied the presence of God, who brought that awareness of who we truly are to us. It was known not just in Judea and Rome, the various colonies and provinces, but also in the East Indian communities that had a handle on something that he could use, and he learned it, and he used it. We all can learn those methods, but we all have to get through the same barrier. The man that is called Jesus by Americans, some English, who's called Jesus by most people, who is called Isa or Yesu, if you are in an Aramaic country, or Yeshua or Yeshua, if you are speaking all the same English. He had to overcome the belief that he was a separate body, that he had to function, the belief that he had to function as an individual being, rather than to recognize who we were, he and you and I truly are. Expressions of that one that is everywhere present. Embodiments in matter of spiritual knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, which is what is in the Akasha. We are that. And so, in unity, we use this time that we call that to remind ourselves that even though we thought we were out here all by ourselves and God is somewhere else, He might be coming along with us, doing something with us for us now and then. In fact, that which we call God is right here, right inside. And we can go into the silence. Charles Fillmore used to say, go into the silence every day for about 30 minutes and listen. Listen to that voice might have to say. And I think it's fascinating that he taught that, because when he did it, he never, once. But what he heard, what he experienced, was his whole life began to turn around. His body became stronger, younger. He looked younger at 90 than he did at 50. It was fast. At 70, he looked like he was 50. He discovered that his business and his relationships realigned in love and well-being. And this thing that kind of happened in through him and around, as he simply sat and listened to this voice. Yeah, the bird had to. So Charles helped us understand that we don't have to look out there. We don't have to call on something outside of us to bring forth the heavenly word that is our own, which is what Jesus was teaching. The kingdom of heaven is within us. The kingdom of heaven is heaven. The heavenly will is done as it is in all that we call. And then through this Advent period, we get to experience with Jesus the baptism of, oh my goodness, look what's happening in the world out there. Exactly. And as we are baptized in the light that is everywhere present, which is part of why we light, so we can begin to see them rather than focusing. Right? When we're out about town in these darker, longer nights, maybe in November, just being aware of the darkness. But each week there are more and more ways to experience it. And that's part of this. That is part of our awakening. Because the light isn't really out, but it's in here. So as we begin to choose to see them, we see more of it out there. It's wonderful. Some of us recall the winter of 1973, when nobody put up Christmas because there was an energy crisis. We didn't know that we had a way to produce enough electricity for everyone to be able to eat. We couldn't live and have Christmas lights. Maybe you recall a dark scene. Maybe you recall how you felt something like what's missing. There's this comfort that is missing, this beauty that is missing, this stimulus that she talked about in the daily word, the stimulus to my joy. Where is it? I want it. And so in 74, very a few lights. They put lights in the room, or maybe just a strand. And then year by year, more and more lights. Now, what's interesting is that most of us today are using a form of light called LED, light emitting diode, that produces every bit as much light as those bulbs did in the 70s, but consume virtually nothing in the way of electricity. So now we have huge light shows for about the same amount of electricity as we had a few strands. So, and I believe that that insistence and call to have more light this time of year is built into humanity. As I said when I lit the candle, this is the time of the solstice. In the northern hemisphere, each degree north of the equator has 1 minute less daylight. We're at 45. Actually, yeah, we're just below 45. Same as. And that means that we have somewhat less than 12 hours a day, more than 10. And as you go through, you have fewer and fewer hours. And a few of you have been in Alaska this time of year. And you know there are days when there's no sign anywhere unless you're the weather, which is pretty. The winter solstice for the northern hemisphere is a wake-up call. It says you do not have to suffer because there appears and humanity from time immemorial has chosen to fill this time here with symbols and images of the returning light, calling forth a new life. You may recall, especially if you ever read the New Yorker, there was a regular cartoon at the end of the year of an old man and his staff, very old man, with an hourglass, father time, Kronos, Snacker. I'll talk more about these guys in the back of January 5. That one is gold. That is the old sun into the night. And then there's the little baby with the New Year's sash. The new year. This is the new birth, the birth of new possibilities. And when Annette is here next week, she's going to talk about those possibilities. That idea was present long before Jesus was born. And so when the Romans began to use the Christian tradition as the way to hold the empire together, they said, let's use that idea. Let's move this festival of birth to this time, because in many ways, the light of the light, the sun of the sun, the sun of is returning at this time of year. And so throughout the Roman Empire, steadily, slowly but slowly, the third day after the solstice was the end, and the next morning, the 25th, was the beginning of a new life being fully present around us, for us, and within us. I love placing all of our traditions at the end. It gives me a sense of connection with all of you through all time. It's not just a single idea out there. It's not just something someone told me I have to do. It's something we are part of. And as we allow ourselves to be part of that project, maybe we can allow ourselves to be part of the larger that includes all of humanity, that includes all of the earth, that includes all of the solar system, so that the appearance of the sun going away cannot possibly be real. It's just an appearance. The appearance of God not being present cannot be real any more than the appearance of light not being present. How cool is that? And as I allow myself, as we allow ourselves to be part of this larger picture in which the light, the presence, the knowledge, the wisdom, the power is always here, we can begin to realize what it is that Jesus was saying and meaning when he said, I am the source of all one. I am the power of all one. If we can allow that awareness, even for an instant in us, that is the birth. That is the coming into our true essential nature. There is no other possibility. We will do it, just a matter of when. If we don't do it on this side of the veil that we call death, we will do it on the other side. Wouldn't it be fun to do it on this side? Won't it be wonderful to actually experience and know our own creative, and know that when we know who and what we are and feel that light working in us, through us, then the people around us are happier, they're more at peace, and they experience more joy, simply because we are. Because that's the nature. It radiates and opens and enlivens every being as we accept, as we realize, make it real, we can begin to make it real for everybody. We can move into that stage that is described in the book of Revelation, where heaven isn't out there, but a new heaven and a new earth are formed. This is what Jesus was trying to help us understand. The kingdom of heaven is within us and can be always met as we allow and feel and radiate this light that is who. And so always the solstice, as we're coming up on this remarkable story that starts with believing in the angel, and believing in the baby, believing in 3 men under the wilderness, to realize that those are aspects of me. Those are aspects of who I truly am. Coming into awareness, coming into awakening, coming into the joy that is the true life that we are. And as we come into this, we realize this is not just any old. This is a wholly new, wholly WHO. It is complete and new and different. And it is who we truly are. So the Advent every year is inviting us to journey into the joy that is our new life, our heaven, on earth, forever, insofar as we are. And I invite you to do that, because it's fun. I've heard lots of good stories. Are you open to maybe accepting with a meditation? So let's take a nice long slope and relax. And as we relax the body, as we allow this chair, knowing that gravity and this beautiful planet are holding us safe, we begin to feel and be aware of the breath that is moving in and through us. And as we feel this breath, we allow ourselves to be aware that each breath is the breath that is called spirit. Ruth. Spirit. Spirit moving in and through, moving in and through every cell. And we realize that as we are aware of this spirit, this light, this moving in the body, each cell awakens with more light, comes more fully into its true nature as a light presence, and emits light communication with all the other cells, little biophotons of light, so that all the cells of this body are functioning in harmony, beautifully, as we see. As we are aware of that, we become aware that the whole body is now the knowing light. Is the light of me in expression. We feel that love around them. We feel it grow brighter and brighter and golden like light. We feel it radiating, expanding out into the community. And connecting with all those who resonate with this light, this. And as they resonate with this light that we now are embodying, that we are radiating, we feel a deep peace, joy. And we're aware that the world around us is lifted to a new level, simply because we are real and know that this light is working with us, through us, and as us, and radiating out into the infinite for all beings. And we feel the connection, and the connection brings us joy and gratitude. So much light, beauty, and joy. And feel this, let us make a choice. A choice to remember this. We choose this. That's who we are and what the world is. Choose this. Alive in us, expanding through us, radiating, touching the same everywhere. Filling our universe with the harmony of love. Breathe that and expand still. So we are overflowing with deep appreciation that this is so truly is. And so as